Hi, this is episode 56 of Crondos. I'm your host, Jordan Hudgens. I'm a Ruby dev and the CTO of the DevCamp platform. For today's Manageable Monday episode, I'm going to walk through how to understand content delivery networks, also known as CDNs. One of the first companies I worked with was a video platform company. That was over a decade ago, and back then CDNs were really just in their infancy. That was my introduction to the world of content delivery networks, and since that time I've worked with a large number of CDNs for various types of applications. So first and foremost, what is a CDN? CDN stands for Content Delivery Network. Essentially, CDNs leverage a distributed set of servers replicating data across a large geographic area to enable faster application load times. If that isn't 100% clear, don't worry. Let's walk through an example of how CDNs work. One of the top CDN users in the world is YouTube. With petabytes and petabytes of data, YouTube streams over 4 billion videos to users across the world every single day. In addition to having to play videos for users, the site also prides itself on being able to give instant access to media. If YouTube took a minute or more to retrieve a video, it'd make for a very poor user experience. With that in mind, the site employs one of the web's more powerful content delivery networks. Instead of storing each uploaded video at a single data center, YouTube takes a distributed approach. By leveraging a CDN, the site stores the video file at data centers all over the world. This means that when you're watching this Crondos episode from your home in Los Angeles, someone watching the same episode in the UK is being sent a cloned video file from a server that's close to them. This approach decreases the distance that the file needs to be sent to the end user, which improves overall performance. As you can see in this diagram, a CDN leverages servers throughout the world, or a defined geographic region. There's not really a rule that says they have to be global. And what this does is it gives them the ability to give end users quicker access to that data. This is a powerful tool because it allows applications to deliver the same speed to users anywhere in the world. Let's go through a step-by-step example to understand how CDNs work. As you might imagine, the process is kicked off when a user uploads some type of media to a server. This can be a video, a picture, a website, or really any type of data that can be accessed by users. This data is uploaded to a single data center. The distribution process doesn't really kick off till the next step. Next in the CDN workflow is when users access the data. Extending our YouTube example, this could be a user watching a video from England. The playback for this single video, or the first play of the video, may be a little bit slower because the video needs to be transferred to the server closest to that user in the UK. Now the video file will be stored on the server in the UK, and any other users accessing the same video will be streaming it from the local server instead of the one on the other side of the world. This process will get replicated across the world over and over again. If you're wondering why an uploaded video isn't instantly pushed out to every single remote server, it's a good question. The reason is because data efficiency management. The majority of the videos on YouTube aren't watched by users across the world. Therefore, it'd be a significant waste of resources if the system pushed every single video across the network. Lastly, just like you would throw out old milk in the fridge, CDNs place an expiration date on the content. This is to ensure that a remote server only stores fresh data. After data has expired, it's wiped from the system. If another user requests the same video, it'll be retrieved from the original data center and it'll be given a new expiration date. This is all great information if you have the next YouTube, but when else is it helpful to use a CDN? You may be surprised to learn all of the use cases for working with a content delivery network. Here are just a few. First, if you have literally any website, I'd recommend using a CDN. You can have your HTML, CSS, and JavaScript assets all stored on a CDN, which dramatically improves your site's load time. The Crondos and DevCamp websites both leverage a content delivery network for assets. This has resulted in better user experiences and improved search engine rankings, since Google includes site speed as an SEO requirement nowadays. Next, if you are streaming your own video, you'll definitely want to leverage a CDN. Video is one of the most resource-intensive features that you can build into an application. Traditional hosting systems such as a VPS or even a dedicated machine can't compare with the performance of a content delivery network. At DevCamp, we chose to go with Amazon CDN since it integrates seamlessly with the S3 storage engine, which we already are using for hosting the videos. We're currently in the process of integrating the CDN prior to our beta launch. Lastly, I strongly recommend using a CDN for image hosting. There are a few reasons for this, and they're both related to search engine optimization. As I already mentioned, Google has made site speed an important criteria for high page rankings. With that in mind, streaming images from a CDN is faster than a typical server. Also, web browsers will load images from another server simultaneously with your website. If that's not clear, let's take a look at this visualization. Let's imagine that you have a website that stores your site and images. When a user goes to your page, the web browser will load your website and then the images, since they're located on the same server. For the sake of working with easy numbers, let's say the full process takes 2 seconds. However, if you store your images on a CDN, a web browser will try to pull both the site and the images at the same time, theoretically cutting the page load time in half, or at least cutting it down dramatically. So now that you know what CDNs are used for, here are some of the top CDNs to work with. Akamai, Limelight, Amazon, and Mac CDN are some of the most popular, and a few of them, including Amazon and Mac CDN, are also very cost effective. I'm not gonna lie to you, working with CDNs can be time consuming and a bit challenging, especially if you've never done it before. With that in mind, I also wanted to include a CDN workaround called Cloudflare. I use Cloudflare for the Crondo site, and it has all the benefits of a CDN. However, it doesn't require you to perform the manual kind of integrations that usually you have to use if you're working with a CDN directly. Many hosting providers enable you to install Cloudflare when you create your site, which is what I did with Crondos. It only took a few minutes and everything worked perfectly. I liked it because it lets me spend more time on creating content and less on working with multiple hosting providers simply to increase performance by a little bit. Before you run out and start migrating all your sites, videos, and images to a CDN, I offer a word of warning. One of the greatest strengths of a CDN, its ability to cache website assets, can also make it frustrating to work with. I've had multiple times where I've pushed design changes to a website for a client and they couldn't see any of the changes. Even after clearing their cache, they couldn't see the updates I made. This issue arises because the CDN still had the old version of the website stored on the server closest to them. When this happens, you need to clear out all cached versions of an application. Services like Cloudflare let you do this with one click. However, some of the other systems can be a bit more complex. I typically make the CDN integration one of the last features to add when I'm building a new application. This makes the site's front end a little bit easier to work with since you know that everyone's looking at the most up-to-date version of the website. I hope that this has been a helpful introduction and answers the question of how does a CDN work.